Hey, what's going on, everyone? So today I want to discuss the role of a coach versus a client in a fitness coaching program. And as someone who's been on both ends, I know that there are different nuances, and I want to go over what it takes to be a successful client and what it takes to be a successful coach. And for those who don't know who I am, my name is Luke Briggs. I'm the owner of the Total Life Fitness Academy, where we specialize in helping parents and busy professionals lose body fat, build muscle, and have more energy. I've been a coach for about 11 years and I've worked with nearly 3,000 clients. So, as I mentioned, I've been on both ends of coaching programs. And before I was a coach, I was on the client side. So, I remember the first time that I signed up for a coaching program, I believe it was, I want to say 2013. There was this program that I've been following for a couple of years. And this is a program that helped people gain muscle, and it was habit based. And what I did was, it was like a year-long commitment, and I'm like, this sounds good. I've never had a coach before, let me do this. And it went really well for like the first several weeks. They would add in habits consistently over time, and then eventually I got to a point where I was like, oh shoot, nothing's changing. I'm a little bit overwhelmed, and I did what I see a lot of people do today, which is I just stopped doing it. I was embarrassed. I frankly wasn't getting results. And instead of just saying, okay, well, it doesn't matter what happened previously, I can take new actions today, I just basically gave up. And I would continuously see, the coach checked in a couple of times. I would see the emails come through, and I just wouldn't do anything. And as a result, I wasn't successful through this year-long coaching program. And it really made me realize, looking back, that the results in a program really come from the client doing the work. Like, you can have the best program in the world, but if the client doesn't do the work, nothing is going to change. So flash forward 2016, this is the second time that I hired a coach. And I was definitely, after having that first coaching experience, I was much better about doing things. So I hired a coach, and I ended up competing in a physique photo shoot in 2016. I'd been training on my own for a while, and I wanted to compete in that photo shoot. Not a photo shoot. I wanted to compete in a physique show. And then I also did a photo shoot as well. So I hired the coach, and I saw better results working with that coach in a few months than I had the previous 9 years on my own. And it was because there were a lot of simple things I was missing. Like, I was weighing my food, but wasn't doing it consistently. Like, some days I would finish my food, some days I wouldn't. I wasn't as consistent as I thought I was. The portions that I thought I was taking in versus what I was actually taking in were oftentimes very different, and I was eyeballing too many things. So once I actually had a coach keep me accountable to all that stuff, it made a world of a difference, and I was able to see really good results. Then in 2021, in February, I hired my current coach, who I've been working with for a little over 2.5 years, and she's been great. I check in with her every single week, and it really holds me accountable. And I know that if I'm not successful, it's not on her, it's on me, because I am the one who needs to take the actions. She can give me changes to the nutrition plan, but if I'm constantly, going places and blowing my budget with my calories, she's not going to be able to help me much. So what I've really learned is that hiring the coach from a personal standpoint is really just the beginning. It doesn't save you. Like, the first time that I hired a coach back in 2013, I thought, oh, I'm hiring the coach, therefore I'm automatically going to get the result. I've learned that you have to put in the work to be successful. And if nothing changes, nothing's going to change. So there was a client who joined our program about 1.5 years ago, Ronnie. And it's a funny story about how we connected. We had connected through social media. We knew a few of the same people, and he really wanted to lose some weight. And he really wasn't following a fitness routine or really anything with his nutrition in the beginning. And then what ended up happening is he lost like it was like 20 pounds in the first 2 months, or like 30 some odd pounds like the first 12 weeks. It was just like, holy cow. I mean, clearly he was way overeating before that. Those aren't typical results, but I'm like, wow, Ronnie, like you're doing really well. And then I realized soon after why he was successful. So we were having an anniversary party for, I think it was in June. So this is about 3 months after he started. And I invited him to our anniversary party. I said, hey, Ronnie, we're going to be having this get together. I'd love to have you come. And he asked, he said, well, is there going to be food there? And I said, well, yeah. And he said, okay, well, I appreciate the offer, but then I'm not going to come. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he said, when I first joined the program, the first week that I joined, I turned down my buddies who I go out with, drinks and wings or whatever it was on the Friday and Saturday, who I normally go with because I've got a good thing going right now. I'm not going to mess this up. So he changed his lifestyle. He didn't just keep hanging out with the same friends, going out every single weekend. He didn't just, continue to overeat on the weekends. He made it a priority to make his environment conducive to success. He prepped his food. He would message me constantly asking me, is this okay? Is this okay? He was very proactive about his success. And as a result, he was successful. And to this day, he's sustained an 80-pound weight loss, over a year. He's basically sustained 80 pounds over like the last year. So he didn't make excuses. He cut things out that needed to be cut out and made the things that needed to be made a priority, because to him, his health was the priority. So I want to go through 3 things that I think are the client's role in a coaching program. At least these are just off the top of my head. There are probably more. Number 1 is the client is responsible for following through on actions. And the quicker the client follows through, generally the better. It's funny. Just the other day, I had someone who was interested in possibly being a fitness coach reach out to me. And I gave this person advice to, start documenting their journey before they make an ask about being a coach. And literally like an hour later, that person was like making videos, promoting what they were doing to people. And I'm like, holy cow, like you implemented this so fast. And it's no wonder why you're successful in other areas, because you implement really quickly. And then I've also given people the same advice, and a month later, they've still done nothing. The speed at which you implement something is super important. How quickly someone follows through on actions tells me a lot about the person. If someone starts our program and it's 4 days later and they still haven't prepped anything, they are probably going to be significantly less likely to be successful. If someone, the first day or two, they already plan out their nutrition, they've already scheduled when they're going to go grocery shopping, they've already scheduled out their workouts, they have things prepped and prepared, they've taken action quickly, I know that that person is much more likely to be successful. So a coach can only give the plan. A coach can't do the plan for you. Just like that's basically what I expected the first time I joined a coaching program. I learned, no, I got to put in the work. So signing up for the coaching program is one thing, and it's great, but you still have to put in the work. A coach can't do the work for you. A coach can't do the push-ups for you. A coach can't put the fork down for you. You have to do the work. So following through on the actions. And that's why we have our clients track their metrics. We have them track their food. We have them track their workouts. We have them track their weight. We have them track their waist measurements, their hip measurements, their progress photos. Because when you're actually tracking things, when you actually start tracking things, you can objectively look at what you're doing. Because I hear people all the time who are like, oh yeah, I'm super consistent. I eat super healthy. Why am I not seeing results? And then we actually look at what they're actually eating and they're like, oh, well, I'm only consistent 3 out of 7 days a week. No wonder. Just about everyone who I ever talk to who comes inside our program always thinks they're eating pretty healthy and are wondering, they're like, yeah, I don't eat too bad. I don't eat too much junk. But when you actually look at it, you're eating way more junk than you think. and you're not planning, you're not preparing, it's no wonder you're not successful. But that's okay, because by tracking data, now we know why. So number one, it's the client's responsibility to follow through on actions. When people come inside our program, they're expected to track their food, track their workouts, follow through on them, hit their targets, check in with us consistently on time, give us the information and data that we need. If we don't have those things, we can't help you, because we don't have the information to help you. So number two is it is the client's responsibility to communicate with the coach if something doesn't make sense or if adjustments are needed. We call it in our program ghosting, which happens every once in a while, where someone will stop communicating with us. And when someone stops communicating with us, we can't help you. So think about it, like if you're in a relationship and something that your spouse or partner is doing is bothering you, but you don't tell them about it, and then you have this built up frustration toward them, and then you just blow up on them one day, well, that's your fault, because you didn't tell them that it was bothering you and they kept doing it. But how are they supposed to know if you don't communicate that with them? Right? So same thing with a coaching program. If you sign up for a coaching program and you're allergic to dairy and you didn't tell the coach that, and they gave you, Greek yogurt or milk or whatever it was in your nutrition plan, and you're constantly frustrated, like, why are they giving me this? I can't have this. So I'll just try to figure it out on my own. The coach doesn't even know that. So how are they supposed to help you with it? You have to communicate effectively and consistently with your coach if you need to have adjustments. And then same thing, like if something isn't making sense with the workout, you're like, oh, I don't understand how to do this exercise. I don't understand why I'm doing this. The coach won't know that unless you communicate it with them. So you have to communicate if something doesn't make sense or if you need an adjustment. Otherwise, the coach can't help you. So communication is super important from a client role perspective. The third thing is a client must take responsibility for their own success. Number three, a client must take responsibility for their own success. If you are consistently blaming others, you're like, well, I'm super busy. Oh, I'm busy at work. Oh, because of my kids. Oh, because of my spouse. Oh, we just have a really busy weekend. If every single week you're coming back with a different excuse, you're hurting no one but yourself. You're hurting no one but yourself. Like, I've seen people in our program who have 6 kids, own a business, and work out 7 days a week for an hour a day. And I've also seen people in our program who have no kids, single, whatever, and work 40 hours a week and have 8 million excuses every week, right? And I'm not singling out anyone in particular. I'm just saying I've seen this before, right? So it's like, you can be successful. Like, somewhere out there is someone who is busier than you, who is working out, who is meal prepping, who is making themselves a priority. So if you're consistently the victim in the situation, how are you supposed to change? Like, for me, for example, we have a newborn right now, and we have just had our 3rd kid. So we have 3 kids under 5. I have a business. We're probably not sleeping the best right now. So I could have a reason why, oh, I'm too tired. I don't feel like working out. Oh, I'm too tired. I don't feel like meal prepping. However, that is just an excuse. That just means for me that I need to prioritize even harder. I need to do even fewer things than I was doing. So like for me, my main priorities right now are my family, my business, and then my personal health routines. Anything else that is asked of me that's reoccurring in nature is a no for now. Because how is that going to help me with those things? So many people try to do so many things. You can only do a couple things really well, which is unfortunate, but the reality. Like, think about the best football players in the world, like Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in the NFL right now. He's not trying to be a musician in addition to being a football player. He's just focusing on football. He could maybe be great with his work ethic at doing, playing an instrument or being a singer. Who knows? I have no idea. Maybe he's a good singer. I have no idea. But if his attention is divided, he can only put so much effort toward that one thing. So Patrick Mahomes puts all his effort toward football, and he's a multiple-time MVP, multiple-time Super Bowl winner. So focus on one thing at a time. Just a couple of things, and then take responsibility for your success. So now, what is a coach's role in a coaching program? I came up with 3 things for a coach. There may be more. These are just kind of 3 things off the top of my head. Number 1, the coach needs to guide the client toward the right actions. So a coach must have the right strategy for the client. If a coach is giving a one-size-fits-all strategy, it may work, it may not work. So the coach needs to guide, make adjustments, make changes for the client so that it's personalized to them and their situation. And then it's the coach's responsibility to set expectations properly as well. If a coach doesn't set expectations and the client isn't following through, it's the coach's fault because the coach did not set expectations properly. The client's like, I didn't know I needed to check in every week. I didn't know I needed to measure my food. I didn't know I needed to weigh myself 3 times a week, whatever it is. So it's then the coach's responsibility, which we do inside our program in the Total Life Fitness Academy. We always have a promise agreement in the beginning, and we go over expectations with our clients on the onboarding call. Number 2, it is the coach's responsibility to challenge a client on their beliefs. A coach can't just be a yes man or woman. A coach can't just be like, it's okay, you'll get it again next week. It's a coach's responsibility to challenge them, to say, hey, John, I know that last week, you said that you were going to log your food and you didn't. Just curious, why didn't you log your food? And then John will be like, well, I don't know, I just got really busy. And then the coach can say, okay, well, I appreciate you sharing that. Do you think there are going to be times you're going to be busy again in the future? Well, yeah. So then is it fair to say that using the reason of I'm too busy probably isn't going to help you lose the weight or feel healthier? Yeah, probably not. Okay, so what specifically can we do this week? I got 2 or 3 different options. We can, the night before, when you sit down, when you're watching a show with your wife, can you pre-log your food in MyFitnessPal or whatever food logging app you're using for the next day so that you already know how you're going to hit your calorie and protein targets for the day? Well, yeah, I can do that. Or for your workouts, can you schedule them in your calendar like an appointment that you can't break so that you know that you'll get them done? Can you leave out your clothes the night before on your dresser so that you'll be able to grab them when you're going to work for the day? So the coach will then give them specific ideas. So it's important, in my opinion, for a coach to challenge a client on their beliefs, because on their own, they're not doing it. And it's important to have someone in a nice way call you out to keep you accountable. And that transitions perfectly into number 3, which is it is a coach's responsibility to keep a client accountable. So if a coach is just like, here's your program, and then never does anything after that, why did the client need to hire you in the first place? It's your responsibility to guide the client, give them feedback, and make sure that they are following it on the program. Now, if a client isn't doing the program, there's nothing the coach can do. You have to do the program. It's a coach's responsibility to make sure the client stays accountable to the program and to the process. So hopefully this has been helpful. Again, this is just my perspective as someone who has been on both ends, who is currently a client. I personally have a coach right now myself. I just know that I take it way more seriously when I have a coach myself in terms of following through on my nutrition every week. And then it is also really important for the coach to then make sure that they are executing on their promises too, which is something that we always preach inside our program, the Total Life Fitness Academy. So those are the coach versus the client roles in a coaching program. Hopefully this has been helpful. If you have any further questions, reach out. We have links below. We also just organized our Facebook group. It's now Wisconsin Fitness and Nutrition. We have an eating out guide. If you're in Wisconsin, we have an eating out guide that you can download if you want to eat out healthy. If you join the group, we also have 50 protein snack recipes, all under 300 calories. It's completely free. All you have to do is just click the link below to join our Facebook group in the description. Look forward to chatting soon.